have an interesting story about something that has gone missing. So, Encanto, have you ever lost anything?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I lost my phone. I lost my keys. I've lost my glasses a few times. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty normal.
It is. It really is. But have you ever lost an entire room?
You can't lose the entire room. That's not possible. Okay. Like it's too big. That's like saying, "Hey, did you lose my house?" Okay. You can't do that. That's too big. How are you gonna? Do you have insurance for that even? How much is the insurance? How do you insure a room even?
I'm pretty sure I am pretty sure they really wanted insurance on this room because it is possible. Now, I will say, in normal circumstances, it would be very difficult to lose a room.
Right.
But this was not normal circumstances.
Right.
So, this particular episode is about the Amber Room.
The what now?
Now, the Amber Room is actually a very famous room, more so because it disappeared. It was lost and is lost to this day.
Already have questions.
I knew you would. And as well you should.
Okay, I mean the most basic one I'm gonna ask, and because I have no idea what amber is, so maybe listeners do, but like, hey, good for you. Can you explain what amber is?
So, amber is a tree resin. You've seen Jurassic Park, and I think half the world has seen at least one of the movies.
Yep.
So, you remember the mosquito that they actually got the DNA from?
Yeah.
Okay, so that yellow stone around that mosquito is amber.
Oh. Oh, okay, fair enough.
We see it today used in jewelry or decorative purposes, but really it's just fossilized tree sap, for lack of a more dignified term.
That's one way to put it, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, not everything that sparkles is diamonds. So,
In this case, no.
in this case, it was tree sap. And they made an entire room out of it.
Uh, eh? Why
So,
would you make a room out of it?
rich people be rich, man. But it was created as part of the Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin. Now, the room itself was done in the Baroque style of the 18th century. So, very ornate, very grand. Now, the room itself remained in Berlin until 1716.
Remained.
Yes, remained. Then it was gifted to Peter the Great of Russia by Frederick William I of Prussia. They were allies and had a mutual respect, and so this room was a gift. And it was moved. This is the fun part. The room was moved to the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg.
How? Okay, yeah. How did they move a room? Did they take it part by part? Like, how did this work?
They did. The room would essentially have been put together in a sort of panel structure. So if you think of the tiles of a floor, or certain buildings will have paneled walls, it's that kind of idea.
You say done in a panel-like structure to move this room.
Yes.
Um, how long did it take then to ship this room? And how did they ship it?
I don't know exactly. I would assume they shipped it by train. That was a
Right.
very common way to move items at that time. But I don't know how long it took them to deconstruct and move the room this time. Um,
This time?
I would this time. I did say it came up missing, but it hadn't yet. I would assume it probably took them, provided they took breaks, got to go home and go to bed, that kind of thing. It probably took them a day or two,
A day.
depending depending on how many people they had working on it.
So this room isn't big then. If it took a day, I mean, I was thinking it's going to be a very huge room, but it's sounding very small. So,
It was not a very huge room to begin with. When it was moved to the Catherine Palace, it was expanded.
eh.
So it grew. The room grew.
Okay, I can understand creating an amber room. That's got to be very expensive.
It was.
And to give it to a friend, I mean, that's completely generous of you to do that because, I mean, the amount that amber must cost must be extortionate back then, I'm guessing.
I don't know the price. Um, I would assume the price would have been more in the collection of the amber, because I mean, certain trees, certain saps, and they also colored this amber, so it wasn't just
Uh,
one bland color across the room.
uh,
Yeah, there was a lot of work that actually went into this room.
how do you color amber?
You know, I don't exactly understand the process myself, and we will touch a little bit more on this because I do have a surprise ending to this story.
Yeah, you're talking about a room that's gone missing. One made of amber. They colored it, they moved it, and eventually it goes missing. And you're saying that during this whole transportation, where this person um, shipped a room by train, possibly. I mean, at this point, I was thinking maybe someone may have hijacked the train by this point and maybe have stolen the room.
The room made it safely to the Catherine Palace, and it was expanded to 590 square feet, or feet squared, which would have been about 55 meters. The amazing part, other than the fact that we have a growing room,
Yeah,
is,
it's expanded.
yeah, it contained 13,000 pounds of amber. Now that's 5,900 kilograms of amber to make this room. That is insane.
How long did it make? Did it take, sorry, to create the extension? And was this done by the original creator?
Now that I don't have information on. I would have loved to found that out. But from what I can tell, and this is speculation based on what I read, it does not sound like there was one solo creator. Now there could have been, like like a lead person that designed and planned the room and then had assistants to help create it. That part I don't know, but it sounds like there was a team,
Hmm.
but I do not have a name, and it might be in another source. It's entirely possible. I don't have an exact amount of time that it took to construct this. I do know that the methods that were used would have been time intensive. So
Yeah.
I would assume that the original room took quite a bit of time. I'm assuming at least months to build. So I would think it would have been about the same for the expansion as well. Although I would assume that they had the craftsmen who knew how to do the work, which probably would have helped the process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got the blueprints, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You've got the room right there you get to model off of. So it stayed at the Catherine Palace, safe and sound, for several years, and was actually at the Catherine Palace until the 1940s.
Okay, so you said this room was left in the castle. Did they have a part where they decided, okay, we're gonna put the room here? Was this, I don't know, done on the ground floor, the top floor, wherever in this castle?
I think it was on the ground floor. As far as I'm aware, it is a
Mm.
ground level, but I never did find out where in the palace this was. And for the point of our story, it doesn't exactly matter. What does
Oh,
matter is that we all know things went missing when a certain dictator decided to get greedy.
okay, yeah.
Yes.
And we're talking about
So
World War Two, so yeah.
during the German invasion, wallpaper was put over this room in an attempt to hide it and keep it safe. However, they did not do a very good job at that, and the room was discovered.
Wallpaper. I mean, I'm a bit curious about this because I mean, wouldn't you need a very special type of glue to have this stick to the wall itself because of the amber? I'm guessing because of the material itself, it pretty much slide off. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know how exactly they adhered it to the room. They obviously didn't do a very good job because it was rather obvious that it was not a part of the room. So I would say they probably did not stick it well to the room itself, and that's what gave it away.
But also, I guess because they're in a rush as well. So,
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of issues with it. I mean, you don't want to damage the room, but you don't want the room stolen. And
well,
you
yeah,
also
yeah, definite.
you don't have a lot of time to work with. It's not like you can just
No.
carefully cover it.
And also, what I was thinking of as well while doing this is materials are probably scarce at this time. So whatever ones that you need, proper materials to use this, like the good stuff that you see is sticking with it, it's probably not as freely available as well.
Exactly. So they had a lot of constraints through this whole process anyway.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, while it was a decent plan and in ideal circumstances would have worked, it did not this time though. It was discovered by the German army. Now, as we know from history, the Germans could not leave well enough alone, even if they wanted to. And the German Army Group North disassembled the room. Now, you asked earlier how long it took for them to disassemble the room before. I did not have a number for that. I do have a number for this one.
Okay.
I don't know how many soldiers were working on this, but they disassembled the room in 36 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just wow.
I would assume that they probably did not have a lot of downtime. It's a valuable room. It was not a cheap room. So I would hazard a guess that they probably had soldiers working round the clock, whether it be teams or whatever the case may be. I'm sure if they stopped working, they probably had guards to watch the room. So, but yeah,
Did
it only took them
oof,
36 hours.
36 hours to dismantle it all. I mean, at the time, um, did the dictator, we're not going to mention his name, did the dictator be able to see the room before it was dismantled?
I believe so. Now, I don't know how much time he would have spent there, but he was the one that ordered it to be taken. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
he had a pretty good idea of what it was.
Oh, so he knew it was before hand itself.
Yeah, yeah, he knew. He knew exactly what he was doing and what he was ordering.
Oh, that's wrong.
It is. In fact, they dismantled the room and they shipped it to the castle of Königsberg, Germany, and it arrived there by October 14th, 1941. Rather early on, honestly. Um, and it stayed there for 3 years. Relatively safe. I mean, it was under Nazi care, so take that for what you will. But it was at least kept relatively safe in the Königsberg Castle until August of 1944.
Oh, near the end.
Yes,
Hmm.
anybody who's up on their history might remember what happened at that time when the RAF, which is the Royal Air Force, so your side of the pond,
Yay!
firebombed Königsberg. To be fair, a lot of mementos and valuable items, really, were taken by the Nazis. It was impossible to track it all. They had so much that they took from all over the area. It wasn't just one room or a statuette here or there. They were raiding everything. So unfortunately, things were going to get damaged. As
Yeah.
much as it pains me to say that.
Unfortunately, with war, there is that. Yeah.
Now, here's where things get tricky.
Okay.
So we know that Königsberg was firebombed in August 1944.
Yeah.
In January of 1945,
Hmm.
all the looted valuables were ordered removed by the dictator. So within just a couple of months, he decided to get all of the valuables out, which implies at that time that the room was still safe. We don't know that for a fact, but it is a viable assumption that it probably was part of that loop.
The RAF came in and started bombing the place.
They did. And within months, the items were ordered to be moved. Now,
Yeah.
April of 1945, so just a few months after they started the process of getting the valuables out, the Red Army, which is the Soviet Army, the Russian team.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, for anyone who didn't know that, um, the Red Army attacked Königsberg as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were not making friends. They were not making friends at all.
Wow.
That happened in April. I don't have an
Right.
exact day for that,
Okay.
but it was very early on because on April 9th of 1945, Königsberg was captured.
By whom? Sorry.
Well, I mean, it would have been the Allies. It was the the Red Army basically was like the nail in the coffin for that area.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was essentially the end of the Nazi invasion in that area. Now, what we do know is that the room is gone after that point.
Because it's been bombed.
That we don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Now, amber is known to have a very, very low temperature tolerance. So,
Hmm.
say if you wanted to melt amber, it would
Yeah.
take a lot lower temperature than most other valuable stones.
Right. Okay.
So, it is entirely possible that it was damaged and or destroyed in the firebombing just due to the heat. It could have been melted essentially, but unfortunately we do not have record of that. What we do have, and this is very much up for speculation and interpretation,
Sure. Okay.
we have witness claims
Hmm.
who said that they saw 27 boxes loaded onto the Wilhelm Gustloff, which was a ship at the time. Now,
Okay.
the significance of that number is that from the reports that we have, firsthand
Yeah.
witness claims and such,
Yeah.
That is the number of boxes or crates that was attributed to the Amber Room.
Okay.
We can only assume that that was what was inside the crates,
Hmm.
but a lot of people tend to like to believe that that is the Amber Room that was loaded onto the ship. We don't know for sure.
Hmm.
And the problem with that is that
Yeah.
the Wilhelm Gustloff was sunk.
Please don't say the RAF did it again.
It was a Russian sub that sank that.
Phew. Ooh, okay, we can save face. Thank goodness.
A little bit,
Ooh.
yes.
All right, wicked. Here's the thing though, because and something I was thinking about. If you're transporting amber, how do you keep it to a regular temperature? Because I was thinking you can't compel too much in one box as well, due to the weight of it.
I don't think weight was so much a factor for them. Um, I mean, if I'm honest, it's wartime. They want to get as much as they can with as little work as they can. Get it packed, get it out. As long as they had the means to get it moved, I doubt weight was a big deciding factor for them. Now, as far as heat goes, generally speaking, your average natural heat is not going to melt it.
Right.
We're talking something akin to a smelting kind of situation.
Hmm.
I mean, when you think about it, amber is made naturally. It is a
Yeah.
natural process that happens every day in nature.
Yeah. Of
So,
course. Yeah.
obviously, regular temperatures are not going to melt it. Otherwise, I mean, people wouldn't be wearing it for jewelry, they'd be covered in sap.
Yeah.
So, it would have to be something akin to the firebombing that would actually melt the amber room. That being said, though, they obviously didn't put it next to any boilers.
Well, no, you can't. No.
No, not at all. It would
No.
definitely do damage.
Okay. So
So
this is sounding pretty interesting. Yeah.
it is. We don't actually even know if the room was loaded onto the ship. All that is speculation based on a number of cargo boxes and witness speculation. So that could be its final resting place, but it may not. What we do know is
Hmm.
that the Wilhelm Gustloff was sank by a Russian sub, and we don't have any reports of whether anything on that ship was ever recovered. And I would
Hmm.
assume not, because it's it's a gravesite now. I don't believe they've even let people dive it, and rightfully so.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Well, I mean, you think about it, if they follow the ideals that that is a grave, that would be desecration of a site.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I guess for historical reasons, I didn't know if there'd be something there that they would want to investigate to see if they could get divers in to just try to locate where the bombings happened, which would be very difficult as well to find. Because I didn't think you'd be able to find that. Yeah.
And the problem is that, I mean, remember that it was ordered in January
Right.
that all of this stuff be removed. Now, I don't have a date for when that order actually came through. What we do know is that January 30th was the day that the Gustloff sank.
Oh wow.
So it very easily could have been the ship that they had planned to carry the room off on.
But I would have thought they'd be a bit smarter than that because I understand it feels too much like a coincidence, to be honest with you, where there's 27 boxes. They know 27 boxes was there to ship the Amber Room. But to have 27 boxes loaded onto the ship sounds a bit too much of a coincidence, if you ask me. And I reckon there's possibly the case that there's some of the Amber Room in that case, but not all of it. I'm guessing maybe like some or bits of it, but not all of it, because there's other treasures that you said as well. So
Unfortunately, we will never know the sinking of the Gustloff. It wasn't, that was a tragedy in itself, honestly.
yeah,
Because when I say it is now a gravesite, I'm not
yeah,
talking a handful of soldiers. These were civilians as well. They don't have a number
oh
because
wow,
they don't have an accurate, sources contradict on how many people were actually on board.
yeah,
They figure the dead to be between 6,000 and 9,000 people
sheesh,
in the Baltic Sea. So we're not talking, one or two sets of remains in the ship. We're talking countless lives lost. Unfortunately, even if the Amber Room was on the Gustloff, chances of it being intact are rather slim because it was not just hit once.
how many times?
To my recollection, it was hit 3 times.
I mean, to be honest, you want to make sure that it's going to go down. And this is the thing, war, there's,
The sub fired 4 times, and the out of the 4 times, 3 of them for sure struck. And the damage that they know happened was to the bow, the stern, and amidship.
where did the fourth one go? Well, the missed shot.
I don't know.
Oh, it's
I
never recorded. Okay.
not to my knowledge. I don't
Right.
think.
Okay.
I think the fact that they hit the ship and it sank was enough for them. Of course, when that happens, you've got explosions, you've got fire.
Yeah.
It sank within an hour, so there might be a possibility that if the room was aboard, some of it survived.
Yeah.
But chances are slim, and it's very doubtful that we will ever know for a certainty that this is what happened to it.
And I'm gonna guess there's no survivors either.
That I don't know for sure. I think there might have been, but I am not entirely positive on that because I mean it was a chaotic time, and I
Yeah.
really have I know very, very basic information. And in
Yeah.
fact, this is a topic that I would love to deep dive into a little bit more
Yeah.
for another time.
Yeah, maybe for a future episode.
That's very possible. I seem to be having a trip down 1940s lane.
Yep.
I
This does seem to be in your area.
It does, which is not on purpose, but apparently a lot of things happened and not all of them were explained very well. So here we are with a lot of mysteries.
Well, and I think it's great.
It really is, and it is a time that really should be brought to light because not only did a lot happen, but there's a lot of things still from that time period that we are either looking for, point in case the Amber Room, as well as paintings. I mean, there's a lot of artifacts that were never recovered, and they're still out there floating around somewhere. Maybe Granddad's attic, or Great Aunt Martha's got some knickknack sitting on her shelf collecting dust that was part of a museum exhibit somewhere.
You can never tell nowadays.
You can't. And in fact, we know that is a possibility because that happened with part of the Amber Room.
Wait, hang on. What?
Yes, the Amber Room was slightly resurrected in 1997 when a mosaic was found in Germany. And this mosaic belonged to a soldier.
Oh, you was stealing.
At least that's the theory, yes. This soldier probably was helping to dismantle the Amber Room and took a piece of the mosaic that went to the room itself.
Wow. Can you imagine if he got caught with that? Oh my god.
Oh, if he got caught, the consequences. I I would not envy the man at all.
Yeah. Or anyone who did.
I don't think any amount of money would have been worth the possibility of being caught.
I do have a question about this.
Yes.
Do we know how the soldier itself, was able to hide this piece of the Amber Room?
I do not. I don't know how big the mosaic was. I would assume it was probably something that he could tuck in a pocket or in his pack where it wouldn't be obvious, but that is speculation. I will say, though, it is a great thing that he was either brave enough or foolish enough to do this because the Amber Room, while not the original,
Hmm.
is once more in the Catherine Palace.
Wait, it came home in a sense?
In a sense, yes, it did come home.
Okay. The first question I have so far from this is you said there is a piece of the Amber Room itself.
Yes.
How are people able to tell that it's from the Amber Room itself? Was there something significant that could have actually said we can tell by the design or the look or feel of it? They could just tell?
The Amber Room itself was one of a kind. I mean, really, it duplicating it was no small feat. And that was professionals doing that.
Oh yeah, definite.
So to look at I mean, it would be obvious if this was, you know, your great uncle's art and craft project or if this was something more. And it was something more. So it was verified that yes, it was a piece of the original Amber Room.
Right. Okay.
And it actually started off the decision to reconstruct the Amber Room and aided in that.
Wow.
It was not immediate. It took some time because the war destroyed the Catherine Palace. It absolutely destroyed it. That actually had to be fixed. The former room that the Amber Room had originally been in was to straight brick. It was nothing but brick, and the roof had collapsed.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So, in the 1950s, relatively close to the end of the war,
Yeah.
there was a project that was initiated to restore all the historical sites that had been damaged.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Who started this?
I don't know. I think it was a government thing where a lot of the leaders and officials decided that they did not want to lose all of the places that have been damaged or destroyed. And rightfully so. I mean, these were really important buildings to them.
Well, yeah. I mean, was this more international, or was this just one country decided to do that?
I think there were several countries who had a similar idea. To my understanding, it was per country as to what they chose to do. But I believe several places at least tried to salvage what they could.
And good for them.
Absolutely. And in this case, it was a rather intensive project. The Catherine Palace itself took 25 years to complete reconstruction.
Good grief.
Yeah. And it actually reopened to the public in the summer of 1980. Now,
Wow.
yeah, it was quite the undertaking.
Yeah, I bet.
It was never fully reconstructed because the original Amber Room was left with minimal restoration.
Hmm.
They never finished that room.
Is this due to the lack of not being able to get enough amber, or is this due to funding? What was the reason for this?
Now, remember, it opened to the public, reopened in 1980.
The 1980. Wow.
You're talking 17 years before the mosaic was ever found.
Yeah.
So they left that bare. I would assume it was kind of a we don't have this and we don't have a way to memorialize this room.
Yeah.
Now, they did do imitation amber mosaic painting. They put in parquet floors, which I don't know exactly what that is. I'm
Neither do I.
that's not something I'm familiar with. They decorated the ceilings and they had mirrored pilasters, which again, I'm not entirely sure what that is. I tried to look at pictures, but I don't understand all of that. But they did restore those as close as possible because it was not specifically amber.
Hmm.
So it was things that they were able to reconstruct.
So this was going to be one of my original questions for the Amber Room itself, because I know you said it's called the Amber Room,
Yes.
but the thing is, what part of amber was used? Was it because I'm picturing it can't just be the flooring, the ceiling. I'm thinking more the walls itself.
The
But
entire walls.
so it is just okay, so that's fine. But what about the ceiling itself and the flooring back then? Is there any details about what that was back then, or there's no details?
There are some sources, but I don't know how in depth all of it goes. I did not find anything mentioned about the ceiling itself.
Yeah.
I would assume since they put parquet floors in,
Hmm.
maybe that was what the original flooring was. I think, and don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure, but I think the ceiling was decorated similar to what they created when they restored the Catherine Palace. And so it was probably an amber colored decoration.
Hmm.
And I'm going off of they did what they could during the restoration. It's entirely possible that the ceiling itself was also made of amber and they made do with as close as they could. I will say the reconstructed amber room is open to the public.
Oh, oh, hang on. You said back in the 1980s it was open and then it was closed?
Well, the Catherine Palace was open, and
Yeah.
the amber room at that time was not reconstructed, but they
Yeah.
did recreate the entirety of the amber room.
Oh, so they fully restored it.
Yes, they actually, when they found the amber room mosaic, they decided to really enforce that. Now, they had started trying to before then. The
Right.
reconstruction team, and I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm going to do the best I can. The team was called the Restaurator.
Okay.
It was formed in 1982, right after the Catherine Palace was reopened to the public. The order, as the Catherine Palace drew to completion, the order came in 1979 to restore the panels of the Amber Room as close to the original as possible. Now, that that became much easier when they found the mosaic, but they had some sources to help with that. They had 86 black and white photos from the 1930s. They had one color slide of one section from 1937.
Just one.
Just one, which was why the
Damn.
mosaic was so important. It provided something that they did not have very much of. They could actually see the colors, see how they worked together, and have an idea of what that was supposed to look like. They had 76 amber fragments from the room, the actual room,
Hmm.
and a miniature amber chest that was made from the same style as that time.
Oh wow. Okay. Complete reconstruction.
From pieces, yes.
Wow.
And they had one invaluable source. They had the curator of the Amber Room, who was the curator from 1916 to 1941.
Wow.
So they had someone with firsthand experience, knowledge, and a pretty good memory at this point, because
Yeah.
that is a long time to remember what this room looked like.
I can imagine the guy being in absolute shock or probably crying, being able to be part of this project and just to be able to see this happening because that's such a massive, massive deal.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the process was not easy either, honestly, because they went through a lot to reconstruct this. It wasn't just throwing some amber up on the wall and calling it a day. They went through they spent several years studying how this was made. It was not just cutting and piecing things together. So the team, and they call it a reconstruction team.
Yeah.
Honestly, this team did a lot because they took the time to actually study how all of this was done. They took the time to find out exactly how the amber was colored, how it was put together, pieced together. And they also took the time to analyze and study what they used to hold it together.
Yeah, this is another question I was going to ask about. Yeah.
It was a type, it wasn't a super glue in the sense that we think of super glue,
Okay.
but it was a type of glue, and they actually had to analyze what this glue was made of and try
Mm.
to make it again
Yeah.
to as close as possible.
So I'm guessing this is stronger than Gorilla Glue because I mean, Gorilla Glue is one of the strongest glues we have out there right now.
I don't know exactly how strong it is because I would assume it had to be strong enough to hold it, but it also
Yeah.
had to be gentle on the materials.
Mm. Definitely.
There was a lot to it, and these people took the time to analyze every single part of that. And they used every means that they could possibly recreate to build this just like the original was built.
Yeah. Crazy.
It is. They learned how the amber would have been polished, how it would have been dyed, how it would have been glued together, every bit
I
of
mean,
it.
that's not cheap.
No, no. And in fact, it almost didn't happen because of the prices. The government actually had to put a bit of a stop to it at one point. other sources stepped in, raising private funds and picking up the slack so that the Amber Room could be finished.
I'm guessing, like, as an apology from for bombing the castle, we the RAF, the good people over here, we contributed to that, right?
Well, on the right track, but I didn't see where the RAF was mentioned. However,
uh,
the,
yeah.
the German government stepped in and
Wow.
provided, yes, they actually provided some of the money to help finish it.
I think that's great of them because I think they probably realized um, after what the dictator did, taking away such a historical room, then yeah, they will put their money in for this, and good for them. They didn't have to, but it's nice to hear that they wanted to help out.
Exactly. Rightfully so. I mean, nothing against the German people.
No, of course not.
It was definitely something that should not have been messed with, and one man's greed led to that. And
Unfortunate, yeah.
kudos to the government for going, hey, you know, we're going to make this right. Because Russia put in 3.5 million for the project.
3.5 million. That still wasn't enough.
Yeah, it
Good grief.
it was a lot of money. It was an insane amount. Russia and Germany worked together to make this all happen.
It's nice to hear them come together. The world coming together, building something historical again. It's something nice to hear.
It is because the reconstructed Amber Room opened to the public in May of 2003.
Oh, wow. So that's not really too long ago, really.
Not really, not when you think about it.
It's 23 years ago. So even still, that's really impressive to hear that it's open to the public. And I'm guessing, unfortunately, the person wasn't able to see the finished room, I guess. The person who curated it.
Not to my knowledge, but I mean, the fact that it is back, the fact that, because, I mean, you're talking, they didn't have a lot to go on. They did not have, I mean, you had one person that was able to help plan the reconstruction who had actually seen it themselves. Nobody else knew anything about it. And really, the curator didn't know deep level details.
How did they find the curator? Did the curator hear about this, or did they source him out?
It doesn't say, but I would assume they probably knew who the curator was at the time. And
Hmm.
they probably looked for anyone who had experience with the Amber Room because, I mean, these people literally studied and collected all the documents of 17th and 18th century ambercraft that they could get their hands on.
Wowzers.
Any photographs, any documents, anything. They sat and they studied. They enlarged photographs. I mean, they kind of put research today to shame. And anything that they analyzed even the black and white photos, they analyzed in grayscale to try to match the colors. So they spent, it wasn't just taking a couple of years and throwing a room together. They put the work in. They did everything to make sure this was as close as possible to
Mm.
the original room. Not only did they put the work in to restore it, they still
Yeah.
care for it. They still care for it so that it is done properly.
So here's my question now, because, and I'm guessing, obviously, you can't touch a lot of the room itself. How many people are allowed in the room itself when they are allowed to visit?
It's set up very much like a museum. So you have the
Right.
walls themselves roped off.
Yeah.
And so you can visit just like a regular museum. It's not
Okay.
so much like you can't breathe in the air and you can't, like you can go in just like any other place. But they are very careful to keep you away from the walls because it is such a work of art. I mean, we're talking about a room that they put a lot of love and effort into. I mean, the the last number I saw
Mm.
that they have to put a price on this room was 7.85 million.
Good grief.
It was not a cheap project. And that was from the Soviet Union.
Which is not Russia.
Yes, provided an additional 3.5 million to complete the reconstruction. We're talking over $10 million for this room. The completed room, the newly completed reconstructed amber room, used around 100,000 pieces of amber, with the design being as close and exact as possible according to those who remembered the original amber room
Mm.
that they could get. And today, they receive about 7,000 daily visitors throughout the summer months.
I Yeah, I can't.
It's wild to think about, but I, for one, am very happy. While it's not the original room, I am very glad to see that it has not been forgotten, and we do have a similar experience when we visit, if we are able to do so, and we can both memorialize and remember the work of the original artist, and as well just enjoy that piece of history.
Well, it's a major piece of history, and it's something that's amazing to know that we still have now to this day to be able to see. I think that's something amazing to have.
It is really amazing, and it is a labor of love. I mean, the team is still on site every day to monitor and care for this room so that it lasts.
Good for them. Um, I'm just wondering how they. Again, this may sound like a silly question, but how do they even clean it?
They have to use specialized materials and techniques, and
Hmm.
that is why they are in charge of it, because
Yeah.
they monitor everything from the temperature to how well the adhesive is working, repairs, cleaning, all of it. It is all under their control.
I mean, it's amazing to know they were able to create it again, make it how it is now. Hats off to the people who have been able to just do this, to recreate it and bring it to life. I think it's something amazing because we don't really have anything like that nowadays
We
to
really
say
don't.
we have this. Yeah.
I've only heard of one other room, and I have not dived into it, but
Okay.
it is another. It's named, I believe, the Amethyst Room or something of that nature. So, but again, it is an older room. It's not something we see done today.
Hmm.
But those are the only two rooms in the world that I know of like that. So to lose one is a travesty.
Yeah.
And I am so glad, even if it's not exact, I am so glad they took the time and the effort to both understand and recreate this room, because that room meant so much to so many people. And
Yeah.
honestly, even today, I mean, that room really binds Russia and Germany.
Hmm.
There is so much history just in the fact that it stands today.
So one of the most impressive things about hearing about this room is how you've gone from having something that's been moved, that was safely kept okay, and then moved to another a place, and not just moved once, but moved twice, and then, well, resurrected. I mean, that's not something you hear of, and it's pretty incredible to hear in this day and age that back then they were able to create something called an amber room. I personally would never thought of something like that being able to be created, but this person had this idea to create something like this is mind blowing. Because again, I've not heard anything like this before, and no one's really come out with something so ingenious like this before. So I'm curious what they were thinking when they created the Amber Room in the first place.
The best answer I can come up with is rich people have money. So, unfortunately, I
Yeah, they
mean,
do. Yeah,
you're talking kings and queens and just a ton of rich and powerful people that have money.
yeah,
And so I really think that that is where the original really came into all of the work, and the effort was just somebody wanted a fancy room in their palace. So I do know that when they opened the room in May 2003, a summit of world leaders actually were at the opening. It included Russian President Vladimir Putin,
hmm
German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder, US President George W. Bush, French President Jacques Chirac, British Prime Minister Tony Blair, Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, and Japanese Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi. Those men together opened the Amber Room to the public.
That's amazing. And is there a picture of them all together?
I did not find one, although I'm sure if you look into, say, media sources, newspapers, there's probably, especially in Russia, there is probably a lot of newspaper articles, and I'm sure some of them would have gotten pictures.
Yeah.
I did not actually find or look into the newspapers themselves, so I can't speak to whether they exist or not.
Wowzers. That's still incredible to just hear how many people came together to see this come together.
It is amazing that we were able to see that and that they all came together like that
Yeah.
over one room. The work that people put into this and the care that still goes into it is amazing.
Again, it's something amazing to hear something like this has been created, and here we are now to witness it in this day and age.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's really amazing to think that this was almost lost. This was almost something that some of us would have never even seen. I mean, that was before my time. It would have been something that I only got to read about in history books, if not for these people's effort.
You did mention there was another amber room itself or something like that, similar.
Amethyst room. I don't think it's lost, which is why I
Oh, it's
haven't.
not lost. Oh,
No, I don't believe that is lost. I think that is just in another grand building. I don't know that it's a palace.
okay.
I believe it is another ornate room in another grand building. And I will probably do some more research on that.
Okay, yeah.
That might end up being another episode later down the line once I've had time
Yeah.
to properly research. So I will be doing more on that.
Well, it does sound interesting, and yeah, it'd be cool to hear more about it.
I'm looking forward to researching it.
We know the Amber Room is real, and I'm amazed that something like this was even created. How someone was able to think of something like this and think, yeah, let's make this real.
Aren't you so glad you never lost your room?
I think I would cry if I ever lost my room.
Especially if it was made of amber. Don't know anybody who's ever actually been to the amber room, so I would be very interested to hear from people who have actually been to the room what the experience was like.
Definitely. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment below to if you have visited the Amber Room and let us know there because very curious about it. I would love to go visit.
Oh, me too. And if you have pictures, feel free to drop those too.
Yes, please. We'd love to see them. We do have an email address, which is mysteriousknowledgepodcast@gmail.com if you do want to send them there. And we upload our episodes on Spotify, Instagram, and we have to update everyone to see what's going on. And we have our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to use any of them to get in contact with us.
Yes, plenty of ways to let us know ideas, comments, or even suggestions. I mean, we're new to this. Feel free to, let us know what you think.
Yeah, we're literally newbies. We still just learning the basics, so please forgive us for any trouble we cause. We're so sorry. We're still new to this. As you probably heard from our first two episodes, our volume was just so all over the place. And hopefully now we got it under control.
We will improve with time. So definitely let us know what you think.
Thank you to Punky for creating this. Thank you to Double A, our editor, who does an amazing job. And thank you, our listeners, for listening to another episode. And we'll speak to you soon.